Well, pleasingly, with the split that the board has determined to make, so those practical matters around a new model for hotel quarantine coming to us next week, that shouldn't be the case. That means that we'll be able to hit the agreed target that we have agreed at a National Cabinet, and that is to have flights returning, to have people reunited with their families for Christmas. That's exactly what we want to work towards, and with no slippage or no change in the reporting date for that element of the work the board is doing, we'll get that next Friday. We'll consider it in some detail and we'll make announcements shortly thereafter, I think, about the model that we're going to put in place, and then that'll mean we've already had, given that this has now been confirmed as being a two-part process, I think there'll already be discussions, if not happened already, they'll be happening throughout the course of next week with Melbourne Airport and with others, just to make sure that we're ready to be able to stand up a new model. Of course, this is subject to whatever the board gives to us. We'll have to wait and see what the nature of their recommendations are. There may be options, there may be all sorts of different things that they go to, but what they've announced, what they requested and what I've agreed to, and what they've announced this morning shouldn't impact us having those flights back to Melbourne as soon as we possibly can.
So how quickly, I know you don't know what they're going to recommend, but how quickly do you expect to be able to turn that around? Are you aiming for sort of the middle of the month? Or?
Yeah, I think it may be a little bit later than that. Again, I think this needs to be done with a good deal of care, and it needs to be done properly, and arguably the situation in many parts of the world today is worse than it was back in March. So I think if I can't quote you a number, but I think that the New South Wales government has had a bit to say in recent days about the percentage of return travellers that are returning positive. So they come back to the country with the virus. I haven't got an exact number, but I'm certain that that's been a feature of some commentary from the New South Wales government recently. That isn't a great surprise when you think about 80,000 cases a day in the United States, many parts of Asia with a set of circumstances that are profoundly more challenging and worse than they were back in March, April, and many parts of Europe as they head into winter that are reporting those numbers, similar sort of numbers as well. So we need to do this properly, and we will, and we need to look at what's in that report. But as soon as we can safely have that system set up and have those flights returning, we will, and I'm very confident we'll be able to have that well before Christmas. But I think it's probably toward the end of November rather than the middle, I would think. But you're right, I think, in your question, just to confirm, we do need to see what's in the report, and that'll be obviously something we can do from Friday next week.